What a year. Oh my God. This has been, I know it's been for everybody.
Sure.
This has been the strangest year of their life. I mean, I think I can say that safely.
Yes.
At my 70 years. I mean, I'm in my 70th year. You know what I mean? I think I can honestly say nothing has come close to this year whatsoever in my lifetime. I'll tell you, it's really funny. I'm doing a documentary too with a group of people who have this is in Britain, and people are sending their videos from all over the world.
Oh,
and so we've been all doing it for about a year.
Yeah.
And so it's made me think along the way of everything that's happening. I've been checking them off. And you know what I really came up with in this last week?
What's that?
I have actually, for the first year in my life, felt old.
Wow.
I will say that. My psychology has never been old.
Yeah.
My psychology is, okay, what am I doing next year? Oh, we could set this up. Hey, that'll be a good business in 5 years. That'll do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy that. And I swear, and I think it's partially the beat down. I'm going through changes. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not on set a lot anymore.
Yeah.
Other guys are out there. I am partnering now with Bernie's Grip and Lighting. In other words, I'm bringing in a partner.
Yeah.
And, and of course, Nick runs the sales site and all of that. But just so transitional, most transitional year ever.
Yeah.
I think
you had a pretty life-changing event at the beginning of this year. So, I mean.
Yeah, I had a stroke.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's nature's way of saying, Bernie, got to slow down, man. Got to slow down, buddy.
Maybe you better slow down a little bit. Maybe you better take it easy. That could be, Tony. My wife seems to agree with you. I think she's reiterated that several times. But you know what? Until it hits you, it's not real.
No,
and it's hitting me. So that's
the whole issue behind COVID too. If it's not hitting you, then it's not real. Or it's So.
Once it's there, it's for sure real.
Yeah. No, very, very true. All right, we have a great guest today. Look, we got a couple of seconds here, and
Marielou Mandl. Yes.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us today on Bernie's Applebox, Friday, 2 o'clock. Got to be Bernie's Applebox. And I am here with someone, a new friend I have just made, Marielou Mandl. And correct me if I pronounce it wrong. I have pronounced every name wrong of every guest for the last 4 years, Marielou. So let me know if I got yours right or not.
Totally, it's a thing. It's Marielou Mandl, like handle.
Handle.
Okay. Get the first name wrong. It's Marielou. You got
Marielou. It looks like Marylou, but it's Marielou.
Yes, it's my curse and my blessing.
That's great. Well, welcome. And I know you and I have talked. We've never met. You are into social media, and I really, really want to dig down today and really talk about people in one thing I advocate, and I have advocated ever since I stumbled across Facebook way back in 2008, is that you need to have a social media presence. And I know you agree with that 100%, but it's how much, and I think a lot of people still, is certainly in the older categories, maybe even in some of the younger categories too, age-wise, don't understand just how important it is. And we'll get into all that. We'll talk about all of that. But I know you do such a good job. You are so focused on different styles, different ways of behaving. I think I represent probably someone who has come up in a very traditional way. In other words, you stumble in and you experiment your way through it, you know. And I feel like I've been lucky to have some good things and some good fortune with social media. But there's other things where I look at it and I go, you know what? I just don't do this very well, nor do I adapt new sites. I'm not real open to new sites. So just give me kind of your thoughts and your background, your point of view, where you came from, and how you view social media as a tool.
Well, I'd say, I always tell people, like, I've been a content creator since I was in middle school, and that was before the internet. So I was like doing the morning announcements, and I was like just working with cameras whenever I could find one. In high school, I was like, please get me like a camcorder. And if there was an option to do a report not on paper, if I could make a video instead, then I would just make the video instead. So I've been very much about making content forever. And this is like, we didn't have cell phones to like camera phones to do things. It wasn't like readily available stuff everywhere. I just had to make it work. Is that echo coming from me?
No, that's for me. That we're releasing the Kraken next door. So yeah.
Oh, good. I'll definitely make sure I check that out later.
yeah, please. It's a great show. It's a great show.
Good. So I've always been a content creator, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that they also have always been content creators. They just might not have been a word for it. So going into college, I went into the theater because I thought that I wanted to be an actress, or then I didn't go into film school because I was like, no, like, there's not like directors of photography and people that look like me who are on like the production side, but I was always really interested in it. So I was living in Orlando, and I would do like stuff for the film school, like get cast in little short films and be an extra, just whatever I could to be on set. And I just love production, but I just was like, oh, but that's like somebody else's thing. Like I can just watch, but I'm not, because I didn't go to film school. I didn't get taught how to do these things correctly. So then I moved to LA, and I'm like, okay, well, I like being on camera. But I don't know if it's acting. I like making things, but I don't know if I'm just a filmmaker. What is it? And over years of me just like watching YouTube happen, and when YouTube happened, I was like, this is gonna be big. And I remember all my friends who were like film school boys were like, no, that's just like for cat videos. And I was like, I don't think you see what's happening right now. And then when Instagram came out, and I was like, oh, this is my art. I just loved it so much. And everyone's like, yeah, whatever, pictures of your food. I was like, but it could be so much more. Like, that's what it is now. But it's going to be so much more. And this is how we're connecting now with people through social media. So I just was kind of in there, yeah, whatever, really pictures of your food. I was like, but it could watching be so much more. Like, that's learning how it worked. And then I was like, I want to create more content myself, but this is how we're connecting now with I don't know how to work social media. I don't know how to work lights. I don't know the right way to do it. Yeah, whatever. So I went to YouTube University, watching it more, like that's learning everything that I needed to know. And then I was like, I want to, and then as I was like, oh, but this is how we're connecting now with I don't know how to work. And as I learned more and realized the right way to do it. Yeah, whatever. So I was learning University, watching it, and learning everything that I needed to know. I want to, and then as I was like, oh, but I like connecting now with I don't know how to, and as I learned more, like so I just love fun to do that. Yeah, so I was learning University, watching it, and learning everything I felt like I want to do, and then as I was like, oh, but I like connecting now. But I like doing makeup, but I don't want to talk about doing makeup because I'm not a makeup artist. What is the thing that I like the most about this? It's actually doing the social media. And that's what people ask me about. And that's why that's become the focus of my content, is because I like talking about how to make social media. People come to me. They're like, you obviously know how to do like Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. Like, can you tell me how to do it? And I'm like, oh, well, then that's what I will teach you. And it turns out now, if I get asked a question 3 times, so if that's how it was kind of at the beginning. It was like 3 times I get a question about how to do IG Live or how to make an Instagram highlight. Then I'm like, I'm going to make a video. And now I've got enough videos in my library that when a question comes up, I direct them to a video. And then if they have more questions, I will answer it.
That's awesome. That's great. That's great. Tony, I'm hearing a little feedback. I don't know if you're getting that or not. Okay. Get off the phone, Tony. You're at work now.
No. Somebody had mentioned there was.
Tony, because I produce my own stuff, and I'm always like, "There's a sound. Where is it?"
Where's
I
know.
Yeah.
Somebody had mentioned there was an audio issue, but I think that was whatever. I think that was the Kraken in the background.
The Kraken being released. Yeah.
No, I'm listening to the Facebook feed, and it sounds fine. So.
Yeah. No, I hear you. You know what? That is a very interesting thing. You said something that was so interesting to me, because I think this is dying, this thought kind of process. I didn't go to film school, so I don't know how to do that. We are crossing over and separating at the same time at a period of, in a really great divide now, I think, between entertainment programming per se and people understanding video and audio communications on a social platform, if you will. I think we have definitely crossed that divide. What I don't think people have done, though, is really get experimental with it yet. You know what I mean? I think we're still in that sort of, here's my head, it's talking, and this is what I do because I'm going to say something. We're not into the emotional movement of like making film and video. We're still in the very intellectual part of it, just talking. I think that's something that's going to change relatively rapidly over the next few years. What are your thoughts?
Yes, and especially with the micro content. So like Instagram Reels and TikTok, right? Those are like 3 to 60-second pieces of content where you're not necessarily talking. Like they are mini short films, little sketches with really no regards to production value. So you can have it high production value, or you could just shoot it on your phone. And that's what I'm seeing is going to be freeing to people, is that like there was and still is a little bit of this like, but I need it to be perfect. I need the right lights. I need the good camera. I can't shoot this unless I'm in a studio. And it's not the case. Like I really like get on your phone and point it at you and start doing your thing and try some stuff and then see what happens. And also that with the internet, like you're not making a feature film. Like this is not Titanic. You're making a piece of content for the internet. So just, try something and see what happens and then go from there. Like nothing is sacred. And I know that a lot of people always feel like, but like my idea, like I can't use this idea until I have all these ducks in a row. And it's like, well, you could. And then if you want to do it again, you can do it again. It's totally fine.
Right. You know how I refer to that is, this is a term I use a lot, disposable media. And that means that it's meant to be unwrapped and consumed by one person at one time over and over and over again. That's disposable media. And that is right where we are. I think people, once they start getting that idea and you understand it, I'm sure without even talking to you that you don't sit there and obsess, just like you just got done saying, about every single frame. You know what I mean? Every single thing. Nor do I. I take it and I know sometimes I look like, it's not exactly how I want it, or this isn't perfect, or I'll even write it sometimes, go back and reword it, after I read it again or something, but I put it out there. That's what social media is. I think, while the exact content of what you want to say is very important. I'm not saying that. The overall fact that you're just getting pieces out every day is more important than what any individual piece is. Am I correct?
Yes. So everything that you put out is a potential pathway to connecting to your bigger message, whatever it may be, or like your body of work. So if you're using social media as like your platform to get further work, which is like a very, very important thing to do, especially in the entertainment industry. When I was working a lot and when I was like still trying to get hired out as like a producer,
Mm-hmm.
for digital content for like events or anything like that. Like I know that when I put out more content, I was more likely to get the job.
Right.
Because they could come and see what I do. They can connect to a personality without bringing me into an interview. They already know, like, oh, she's going to vibe with us or not. Plus, she obviously knows what she's doing because you are what you tell people you are. And
I love that. I know that is the holy grail right there. You are, and people will believe you are who you tell them who you are.
Yeah,
they will every
right?
time.
And if you make content over and over and over saying, I am a director of photography, this is what I do, this is how you director of photography, whatever it is that you do, people will be like, oh, you know who's a director of photography? That person.
Yeah. And you know what? It's getting your mindset in there. I do this a lot. I take snippets from the shows, I throw them in, I do a lot of stuff. But what I find is so amazing to me, even still today, even though I've been doing it for close to 10 years, maybe a little over 10 years now of doing that, is how well people accept you. I mean, I meet people brand new for the first time in my life, and I know who they are through social media. It's like there's no space between us. It's like we've been friends for 10 years, 20 years, And also, because I'm pretty verbal about this, I'm always telling what I think, how I think. And people will just glom onto that. They already know you, that you're already there, you're pre-sold. You've got a pre-sold audience, really, is what it is. With that in mind, let me ask you this, and I'm not quite sure even how to start this. One would be is what are the mistakes that most people make. Another way to start it might be, and if you're comfortable with this, let's go with it, is what is a good plan to start your social media with? You may be doing social media now, but if you want to mix it up, if you want to get better numbers and all that, how do you approach that?
So this has come up a lot for me recently, especially like this year, trying to really focus because this is the first year where I've had the most time to really focus on my social media project. So I've been doing it for years, but like this year was like nothing else. This is what I do full time and really riding that train. And so the thing that I've learned the most this year is smaller, simpler pieces of content. Answer the smallest question that you can. Because say if I make a video and I'm like, how to make a YouTube video, that is such a big thing. That's a like 2-week course. That's like a 6-month course if you want to make it that long.
Sure, of course.
It's not, if it's going to be one video, it's just so daunting. But if I'm like, okay, how do you use a ring light? How do you connect your DSLR to your computer? Answer a small question. How to save a video on IG Live. Then you have so many things that you can talk about. And then also narrowing down your bigger question that you answer. So a lot of my friends, they want to be like lifestyle, right? Like on Instagram, they're like, I want to do Instagram. I'm like, well, what do you do on Instagram? And they're like, anything. I can do anything. And when I was pursuing my career as a host, and I would get asked all the time, they're like, what do you do? Because like you could be a red carpet host, you could do entertainment, you could do sports. And I was like, whatever, I can talk about anything. And I can. But just because you can doesn't make that easier for you. It actually makes it more difficult. So once I decided I talk about content, about making content. I make content about making content. My mission is to encourage and empower others to make content. Now, the scope of the world is not blasting in my head with ideas. It's just this world. And then once I've explored that world and I'm finished with that one, then I will go do something else. But I also don't stop myself if I have an idea that doesn't relate to that. If I have an idea and I'm like, it's on my heart and I just want to shoot it, I will do it. Like, and that's, there's one video that I had a few months ago that went viral when Instagram Reels came out, and I was just, every time a new feature comes out on any of the social media, I'll go and play in it for a little bit because I know people are going to come to me and ask how to do it. So I have to learn really fast. How does this work? And in my first like handful of videos, I had one that was just super silly. And there was like a song that came out by Cardi B, and it made me think of chores in this house. That is not the lyric; it is something else. But in my head, I was just like, "Oh, this is funny." So my boyfriend and I were like cleaning. I was like, "Real quick, can we shoot this little idea that I have?" Right. So I set up the phone on the tripod. We are like legitimately about to start cleaning the kitchen, and I was like, "But real quick, do this. Like stand here, stand here, stand here." It took like 20 minutes total. And then like later in the day, I was like, snip, snip, snip. And then I posted it. And I just didn't think about it anymore because it was just silly and it was fun. And not taking myself seriously because it's little micro content. Like you can digest it, you take it, and then you go. And of course, this is the one that goes viral. That has nothing to do with my main thing that I cover. But people found it and they're like, oh, she knows how to do this. So let me follow her for her other content as well.
That's great. Do we have that,
4
Tony?
million views. And
4 million?
4
million?
Million views.
Wow.
And like my stuff does not get views like that. But I thought Instagram was broken.
Nice.
What is happening?
In your favor.
Nice.
In your favor.
Yeah.
We have this lovely image from the video.
That slide. Okay, very good, very good.
Yeah. Well, because it's like a pop song, so
it's copyright music.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, no, I've been in Facebook jail for that too. Yeah, so that's
Yes.
Don't want to go there.
Yes, you have.
Anyway, that is great stuff. That is great. So you really break it down. That's what you're doing all the time. You're talking to the audience and breaking it down. You know, I wouldn't have thought of it that way either for myself, but that's exactly what I do. Mm-hmm. I'm taking it down into smaller and smaller pieces all the time, you know, because the big one, you don't hold the attention for it either. You know, one thing that I'm kind of exploding on LinkedIn too. I'm doing very well over in LinkedIn. I would say LinkedIn is my hottest platform right now, whereas Facebook was for years. I just think that, you know, and everybody sort of knows what Facebook's going through or what it is now, and you know, it's not an easy platform in my mind to traverse. But LinkedIn is much friendlier, it seems like. But with that, because I think this is something that's so important, and I think it's something that a lot of people miss, and I know that I was more conscious of it in the beginning, lost some consciousness of it, but then have come fully back onto board. How do you build the audience you want?
So the first thing you really have to do is identify who that audience is. So when I look at your content, I know who your audience is. It is like the grip and electric guys. It is the production folks behind the scenes that really love like unpacking the truck and seeing what you've got to play with and figuring out the puzzle of production, right? So that's why you know who you're talking to, so you can talk to them. But that is also because you are one of them.
Right.
And I know, like, when I think about who my audience is, it is specifically like somebody who wants to do better with social media, whether it's for their business or for their personal, or they just want to do it as an expression because you're consuming it all the time. Like, it is probably the thing we consume more than air right now. You know, that it's like we breathe, we go on social media, and then maybe we eat, you know.
Right.
So you think about what is it you're consuming. And so my audience is the people who want to create content, but are maybe not connecting well with the teachers that are already out there, like the teachers that taught me. So my audience is me years ago.
Right.
You know, so that gal who was sitting there and like, I really want to do this, but like I'm intimidated by lighting and I'm intimidated by cameras and editing and gear because I'm not techie, right? Like there's technical aspects to this, but you know, my goal is to tell people like you can make it complicated, but you can also make it simple and it be just the same, because we're used to seeing footage from the phone. So you can post stuff with footage from the phone. And I've even seen content creators that do stuff with full production value, like just shooting stuff on the phone because it does perform better. And then there was also some brands that I've done some freelance work with that told me the stuff that is shot on the phone just performs better in metrics. So as far as growing your audience, like don't worry so much about the production value. You just got to start getting your face out there, and you need to figure out who you're talking to and what you want to help that person with. And whether it's entertainment, education, or aspirational content. And aspirational being like, your life could be good like this, or, like you could live this kind of lifestyle. You could cook pretty meals like this. It's educational, entertaining, or aspirational. You have to provide something. And a lot of people start with vlogs, which I even tried starting with vlogs, which is really just, filming yourself, like creating your own reality show for yourself, which is fine. And I think good for learning, and I think good for your capturing and experimenting. But when you're ready to grow your audience, narrow down what you're talking to, answer small questions, but understand who it is you're answering this to. And the feedback that I get all the time is that people like my content because they feel like I'm answering their question specifically. Because somebody left a question, and if one person has the question, 10 people have the question, 100 people have the question. It's a matter of getting it to them.
Right. So as far as, knowing who you want, and of course, yes, you're absolutely right. I've got that down to sort of a science. In fact, trying to expand it to a certain degree, because I find production people, whether you're a G&E or you're a makeup artist or a wrangler of some sort, you know what I mean? We all have the same things dealing with production, and very universal, so I can speak to those things as well. Let me ask you this, and let me just give you part of my philosophy of how I do things right now. I'm always hunting for people, right? So it's impossible for me not to go through my feed, say if I'm on LinkedIn and I see somebody post something that's very interesting, they're a second to me, they're not a direct link, but it's something in maybe an ancillary industry that's doing something very cool like AI, robotics or something like that. And I know they post, I know they're active, I know they have an active mind. I start reaching out to those people, you know what I mean? And also anybody who is, for example, if I post a picture on LinkedIn, I get, say, 200 likes on that. Maybe 75 of those people will not be directly linked to me, but I will go back and send them a invitation because they've actually participated, right? What about that formula? Do you have any thoughts on that, on going and really digging for the gold there, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's called social media. The media part is the content that you make, right? So if you want to be found, you have to give them something to find. But the other part of it is the social, and that is participating. It is a party. You need to mingle. And I look at all of the different platforms as if they're different clubs that you go to.
Okay, that's good.
Different playgrounds, right? And that each place that you go to offers different things in how you interact with it. And the more you interact and you actually participate in the community, the way that platform is built, the more that it favors you, and you show up in searches, you show up in explore pages, you get recommended to other folks. And I love that you do this, reaching out to people who've engaged with your content. That is so important. And if you have the time to do that, please do that. Every comment, respond to every comment. And something that I've seen recommended, and I need to get better at this, is that you find your, not necessarily competitors, because I feel like we're all doing this and it's okay because we're all different versions of, whatever it is we're talking about.
The same thing, yeah.
Right. Other people who are in the same niche as you are answering the same questions as you, go into their comments and see what questions people are asking there and answer them.
I like that.
That's a great question. I actually have a video about that, but real quick, this is how you do it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So proactive, going after people, and I think this is what a lot of people don't do. They miss that point. They expect somebody to send them the friend request. And the real magic, I think, is sending that out. That's how I built LinkedIn, I've got 10,000, I think, there now, which is, but 10,000 active, which is much different, And their algorithms seem to be a little more open than Facebook's, Tell me about this. And I think, let me just ask this thing, because I'm usually frustrated with Facebook in a lot of ways. They have really, when we started doing live videos here, I mean, we would literally do an hour like this, get 4,000 views. It was incredible. They showed it to everybody. They have hammered the algorithms down so much in Facebook. Give me your assessment of Facebook. Obviously, you've got to have it. You're not going to live without a Facebook page. I mean, that's just like an address now, But give me your assessment of how viable Facebook is these days.
So I don't love Facebook for putting out content. I will repurpose stuff, I'll repost things there, but I don't focus on that as my main platform outside of groups. I think Facebook for Facebook groups is really where the party is. And that's the only reason I haven't deleted Facebook altogether, is being part of different Facebook groups. So like the program that I use to live stream is Ecamm Live, and the group for that is so active and so friendly and so helpful. If ever you have a question, you're like, hey, I don't know how to do this, and they help you out. Like for plants, I've got plants and I've got cats, and I've got groups for plants and cats that I'm in. And if ever like, oh, this one plant that I have is turning yellow, I'll post a picture and somebody will respond with, some good advice. So it's communities and groups, I think, is really useful for Facebook. And yes, you should still have your Facebook profile, and you should, like, if you have a project, like when we're looking at yours, right? So you've got your personal page where people can add you as a friend, and then you've got the on-set lighting one. But I would actually like for you to have your personality one as a page. Like, I don't have a Facebook page for adding friends that, like, I don't even put my face on the picture. It's my cat.
Okay.
Like, that's my family, just like, so you have some place that is yours, and that's not really where I'm like pushing my content. They can come to the page to follow the page. But that's for me. I don't like, I just don't like hanging out in Facebook too much. So that's where I kind of keep it separate.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
There. But it is a good place depending on your business.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe this is a good time, just as an opener there, and you want to review my pages, what you said, because I asked you to do that earlier. Yeah. My on-set lighting and my personal page. Yeah, let's do that. And Tony, let me ask you, maybe even both of you, is there any way you can pull my page up and we can see that?
Oh, sure, Bernie.
Come on, Tony.
I was just talking with Marielou about this before you came on. He always asks me to do something at the last second. Like, God, Bernie.
Oh, Tony, I'm shocked by that statement, Tony. I'm shocked by that statement.
Right? You know what? I actually have a quick question, and while you guys answer that question, I can pull up your stuff.
Thanks.
One of our longtime viewers, Grandma G, wants to know.
Grandma G.
Yeah. Do hashtags, and I guess, do hashtags really drive viewers to your page?
I have mixed feelings about this, and you should be using the hashtags, but I know that in the past few months it's on Instagram, and no, Instagram is Facebook. Like, they're separate, but they're together.
Right.
And that they had blocked hashtags for the past few months. So yes and no. And it is, when hashtags do work, it is about getting them more specific. You can't just say filmmaking. That's too big of a hashtag. That's too much. You're not going to show up in any kind of search. And it's search engine optimization. And like with YouTube, right, there's tags that are in there, and your goal is to rank in the searches. So I just unboxed a Canon M50 Mark II. And if I just do Canon cameras, my videos are not going to show up anywhere near where somebody's going to find it. But if I do Canon M50 Mark II white unboxing, I'm pretty sure I'm like in the top 3 videos of that topic when you search that. So the same
and
thing.
And each one of those is an individual hashtag.
That's one whole
one thing. Long hashtag.
Yeah, and I
really?
like the tag. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to show up for Canon. I'm not going to show up for M50. Like, all those things individually, you're not going to show up for. But like, that's why like YouTube's my favorite, because it's a search engine, and your content that, like, I've got a video that I made a year and a half ago that still gets tons of views because people are looking for that specific question. to answer that specific question. And then on, Instagram and Facebook, like the hashtags do work, but I don't think well. And I think that a more effective use of your time, like you should put the hashtags on there. On Instagram, you can have max 30. You should definitely use them. You should definitely take some time to looking at how many numbers are underneath that hashtag. But doing what like Bernie does and going and actually connecting with people and participating in the community, looking up other people who might be asking questions that you can answer and helping them out, I think is a more useful use of your time.
That is very interesting. I would not have guessed a long hashtag like that would get you viewers. And is there, does Instagram penalize you for using the same hashtags all the time?
If they're relevant. Like I do know, like if I'm always posting pictures of flowers and I am hashtag cooking, it's going to, be like, oh, she doesn't know how to use hashtags.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting. Yeah, I had never understood hashtags very well. I understand it's due to search and stuff like that, but I have never looked for something going by a hashtag, I guess,
Yeah. And that's how I feel too. I don't utilize it to search. So it's hard for me to like believe that it's actually bringing people my way.
Yeah. Interesting. That's great. All right, let's get to my site if we get it there, and let's see where we're at. There's on-set lighting. That's my sales page there. And then on the personal page, so you're saying you would take my personal page there and bring that stuff into a separate page.
Yeah, I would have a Bernie Burns page.
Okay.
Not like a profile. And that's where you, as a personality, are growing your platform. Because, and then that also can kind of isolate, like if you want to just post things on your personal page that are not related to your topics, that's okay. You can post that on your personal page. Like, I'm always posting cat stuff, but I'll do that on my personal page. I'm not going to do that on my business page for Marielou.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so if we're looking at, let's see, which one are we at? I've got your personal page up, and then the first thing I would do for you there is update your picture.
Oh what? My picture? That was taken last week. What are you talking about? You know what? That is a very, very real. I'm glad you started there, because here's where I'm at. I wrote a book. Nobody talks about lighting the elephant in the room, which I do a terrible job at promoting, but it's still out there. That was around that time, that I wrote the book. I guess it was a few years after, but I had the idea of doing it. We did an elephant, and I had a conversation with somebody because, I got to light this elephant, you know what I mean, in this studio. What would you do? Which is how most of my questioning starts. And they go, nobody talks about lighting the elephant in the room. And so that became the title of my show, my thing. So I was all big on that, when I was doing that. And I've had that up since 2008.
Oh, it is way overdue.
So there's no theory to that and here's what I thought is like having a consistent logo, having a picture that's consistent, people can identify, they always know when they see it. Not so much, huh? You think it should be updated?
It should be updated. It should be a clear photo of your face. It is a profile picture, not you in the corner with an elephant legs in the back. Because even it's not like as far as the size of it, right? You have to work with that. Now you could take that picture or a version of that picture and make it your banner. That is fine, because there is an elephant in there. It is very like eye-catching, but in a profile picture, especially if you think about when you see a profile picture on the phone, they're like this big.
You're right.
So that we don't know what we're looking at there. So you might as well just get your face in there and when you look at it full size, like I opened it up, I was like, that's a cool photo, but that's not the place for it. I think you could use that in your banner, and maybe, do some version of your book cover on there. You can do something interesting with that. So I don't mind your cover photo of the set because that is what you talk about, but because you have a book, you have a product, I would showcase that branding there and have your updated profile photo in your profile photo, because that shows up in other places too. It's like usually pretty small, but it shows up in a lot of spots.
Yeah. So you would just do one good headshot right there for my profile photo. Okay. Yes. And you said in the banner, just want to make sure that is good because that's what I'm talking about, everything on set and all that. But you said maybe you would put the book there. Is that correct?
Yes. Like I would take this photo. So if we click on that picture, it's like a square, and you could even make a banner. You can use any like Photoshop, Canva, any kind of place where you design a graphic just like you do on your on-set page. Yeah. Right? And you could take the elephant, you with the elephant, and then you can take a picture, like the title of the book, and put that on the side. Just like your graphics for this show. And use that branding, because if I see that, I don't know you have a book. That doesn't tell me anything. Right. It just says like you took a cool picture with an elephant, which is rad. Yeah. But also like 12 years ago.
Yeah, right. Which is my favorite part of the whole picture, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I think you can use it. It is cool, but for you, I would start building yourself more as a personality, and then you could take photos like this from your career, because you've had such a career, and you do Throwback Thursday, and you post up that picture, you write a little caption about what happened there, and you can repost that every year. You can do that over and over and over again.
Right. So I just take something, make it out of the retro stuff, and I actually do a lot of retro. I mean, nobody's been producing content, you know what I mean, this year at all. So it's most of it retro. I'm very surprised how a production picture is not a current production picture if no one has a mask on. Yeah. That's just like immediately old school. You know what I mean? Old times, so yeah, that is amazing. Okay. And what else? What else did you notice in there? Keep going on.
I do like that you have listed all of your different places on other social media platforms, but I wish, and I know that it's difficult because you've got Bernie's Grip and Lighting. Yeah. It's just some places are Bernie Grip. Sometimes it's Bernie B10 is what you are on YouTube. It's Bernie'sGripandLighting.com. It's Bernie's Grip at Twitter. So it's all a little bit different. So if you could develop, and if you're just starting, totally, you just need to make it the same across the board as much as you can.
Okay.
And that could be done a bunch of different ways, but I am glad that you have it all listed there. And number one, let me back up, number one, the fact that your Facebook profile exists and you have it there with information is the number one. You are winning, you're doing it, and you're already on your way, right? So,
okay, good.
You've been doing this for a long time, so you know.
Yeah.
You know that, and the stuff is formatted right. I like that you have stuff in square because as far as aspect ratio in your posts, which is good because square is what Facebook wants. And sometimes they'll take landscape, but with your different pictures you have. But I'd love to see more of your personality. That is something of just you popping in. We've got interviews with you, and I believe you do have some of the different shows that are little smaller tidbits, but just you on your phone, hey, today I'm thinking about this. Did you guys see this thing in production, or did you see that this show is going? How cool is that? Or, I just watched Queen's Gambit and I really loved the lighting in that, just little more personality things that connect with other people as well. Because you might get people who are not production people but want to be production people.
Sure.
And, you're saying you want to expand a little bit. So I would give us more personality in video. Little clips.
Okay. So a little more pieces of me out there just giving daily thoughts or just a quick my take on something like that.
And you can do that in a video that you post in the feed, or you can do it in a story, just the same. And are you not using Instagram yet? Or you?
No, I have Instagram. I actually have three pages on Instagram: Bernie's Grip and Lighting, Onset Lighting, and Applebox Network. I'm just not good at getting out there, and it's funny because I don't know why either. You know, I have literally on my phone, I have 60,000 pictures. Probably, 60% of them are actual production pictures, right? And it's the easiest thing for me to do is to go get production pictures. I mean, literally, you know what I do if I want to do a post for LinkedIn, I just hit like September or October or maybe a specific year, and I've always got a set I was on. So I just take those and I find something to say about it and just post it. It's the easiest stuff for me to do. So why I am not more into Instagram, I have no idea. But I think one of the things that turned me off about it was the hashtags. And it was just like, God, I got to figure these hashtags out every time, you know what I mean? And I know there's tricks. I mean, I've got some stored in my my notes on my phone, so I can go and hit those up whenever I want to, and all of that. But it was never easy for me. It was never a flow for me.
Right. And then on that point, and that's something that a lot of people ask about. We talked about it a little bit on how there's so many platforms. There's so many places you can be on the internet, and you should have your name on everything. You should make the account on everything, but pick one or two that you focus on, and then just show up a little bit, find ways to show up if you can, just so the page isn't empty. But you don't have to be number one on every platform across the internet.
Yeah.
Having a big following on Facebook and LinkedIn is an awesome way to be. You are golden. You don't need to also grow Instagram if that's too much to think about. Because it still should be fun. Like, it still should be fun. And like being production.
That's a very good point.
You want to work on a TV show, you want to work on a movie, you want to work, on a play. I don't know. You can't do all of that at once, right? That takes a ton of people. And if you don't have a team, then that's okay. Just still have fun. Find the ones that you like that click with you. And that's where, like, you love Facebook. I hate Facebook. I don't spend time over here. I don't like to hang out except for in my groups. But I love YouTube and I love Instagram. So I hang over there because that makes sense for me. But I don't try to be everywhere too much.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. YouTube now, speaking of that, is one that I possess endless guilt about, about not doing a better job on that. I feel like if I spent any time at all on YouTube, I would be very successful at it. And I have a ton of content over there. I'm not lightweight on that by any means. So give me a quick rundown on YouTube.
YouTube is my favorite because it is Google. It is a search engine. So if you think about how you ever use YouTube, if you need to know how to do something, you're like, YouTube it. And then you find a video of somebody showing you how to XYZ. And that could be a video that was made yesterday, or it could be a video that was made a decade ago, if it's still relevant. How to tie a tie, I think, is like the #1 video since the beginning of YouTube for all time.
Disposable media.
Yes. And it's like you're building a library over there. And on Instagram, that's where, like, Instagram's fine. You can post cute pictures, but like something like the viral video that we talked about earlier, that was in August. Once it capped, it capped. Nobody's looking for that anymore. It doesn't show up for anyone anymore. Once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
But if you're answering relevant questions and you're building channel authority, so the fact that you have a bunch of content about the same topic, YouTube will start to show in the algorithm, like, okay, she posted about Instagram stuff, so if she posted a new Instagram video, let's rank it higher because obviously people like coming to her for this topic. And with your stuff that's already on there, like, I would just go back and like Make sure you optimize like the titles, the search terms, anything like that, because something that you posted a year ago that maybe wasn't optimized, maybe should be worded a little bit differently. You got to think backwards to like, what's the question they are typing in to get to your video? They're not just like, oh, I wanted to just watch somebody talk, about a light. No, I want to know specific things about this specific product in this specific context. And then that's always how I work backwards from that, I think.
Okay.
How did they find me? What did they type in to find me? And then I go backwards to answer more of those questions.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I think I should definitely do that. Let me ask you this. Do you use TubeBuddy?
I do use TubeBuddy, and I really do enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony, do you have TubeBuddy too?
I do. I got it up. I haven't. I've been using the free version to kind of work through it, but it only gives you like the first three suggestions with the free version.
Yeah.
So we may have to look into that a little bit deeper. It's super cool.
Yeah, I've been seriously thinking that's been a mistake of mine, not using TubeBuddy. What other?
We'll talk to the social media department.
Yes, yeah, good. I'll have a word with you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
We have a question, by the way, if we want to.
Oh, let's go. Let's get the question.
So, yes, another one of our longtime viewers. Angelique would like to know, yes, would you hire someone to get a presence on platforms to post, say, a month's worth of content just to get started?
Well, Angelique, that's a good question, and that is, there are definitely people who can do that, and if you're at the point where you can hire someone and it's going to take that off of your plate, then hire someone. I look at it like you can clean your own house, but if you're so busy and you have the resources to outsource that work, then it just takes the stress off your head and you can get back to the work of working, because it is a whole thing if that's something that you want to do. But I also like to think really simply, like with any topic, I could come up with like a month's worth of content. If you're going to post once a week, you just need 4 posts. If you're going to post twice a week, you just need 8 posts. You don't need to post every day. You just need to post consistently. So you find a duration that you can do consistently and then streamline it down from there. So like Bernie's got like his specific episodes that happen. So he's got content that's upcoming, but say it wasn't a live show and you have to make once a week, you do a video about products. You could take one day and shoot 4 videos about products, cut them up, and then you schedule them and you're done. That's one day. That's not a month of work. That's one day of work. And if you're going to do a live show, like that's where I've discovered that a live format is better for me, because then I'm scheduled for it, I shoot it and I put it out. That makes it more consistent for me. If I batch create, which I do sometimes for other content, then I'll shoot a bunch in one day, and then maybe I cut it or maybe I don't because I got distracted or I got bored or I didn't want to talk about this thing anymore. So I switched my way of doing it to live because I knew I would be more consistent. So you figure out what's the way you can be consistent, but you don't have to be every day of the month consistent. Consistent can be once a week. Consistent can be once every other week, but I really wouldn't go less than once a week. You figure out what's your thing you want to do, you start there. And once you get a handle on that, so if you have a blog, you sit down one day and you like the end of the previous month and you sit down and you write 4 articles about whatever your topic is. So now you have that done, they're scheduled. But now you're like, well, I've got time. Now I have time to do more. So now you spend another day, you make 4 little video clips. And the next day you go through your picture archives and you're like, oh, I can actually find 8 pictures that work. And then you can put those into a scheduler, and I would really just focus on your one platform that you want to focus on. Now, if you're just getting started, like Angelique is just getting started. So hiring somebody, you can. But I do caution against that because now you're going to feel like you need to keep up with that pace. And I think it's much better like working out, like if you just start a little bit, you start a little bit in what you can do. And that's where like I like to empower other people to be able to do it themselves, because it's going to be ongoing indefinitely. Like social media is going to be here forever. And if you want to maintain it and that's not a service that you can upkeep, then you might as well just learn now while it's little. And then once it grows, then you can get more people.
I think that's great. I would say on that too, one thing that I did when I started out, which was a real actual, it wasn't thought out by me at all, but it was just such an advantage. I had taken for the 10 years prior to getting on Facebook, I had bought always disposable cameras, and I took film pictures of every set I was on. So I had like 2,000 pictures. I hired somebody to put them and digitize them for me, and then put them on Facebook, which gave me which I didn't realize at the time, but a real treasure trove of production pictures that were easy for me to access. And that is one thing that I know rocketed me once I started making connections and did that. I wanted to ask you, excuse me, in something you said there. Do you think posting once a week is enough to build an audience on social media? And with that one question that I will ask you, let me give you this. What is the ideal? What is the ideal amount of posting to really start rocketing a site up?
So my suggestion of once a week is to get people going. It's not going to grow. You're not going to rocket at that level, but you're going to build the muscle to show up consistently. It's like, right. Going to the gym, right? A lot of it is very much like going to the gym. You go to the gym once a week, like you showed up, you did the work, but are you going to see big gains in your fitness goals? Maybe not. Yeah. Right? But not as much as you would if you were going twice a week, 3 times a week. And I think every day is maybe too much. It does depend on the platform. It really does depend on the platform. If there's something new, like when Instagram Reels came out, I was posting every single day. And then that's when I hit a bunch of like little viral pops because it was brand new. So I jumped on that right away. But now I post on Reels twice a week because YouTube's my focus. So YouTube now 3 times a week. That's growing a lot. It's growing a lot, and at a speed I've never seen before because I am consistent Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But before that, I was like once a week, maybe twice a week, but then I was like, I would fall off for a few weeks. So to start, whatever it is, like you just need to get in a routine of some kind of consistency, whatever that is. If it is only once a week, I'd rather you do once a week than none a week. And then you start to batch, you start to get ahead, and then you can do more. But to grow, you need to, I think it has more to do with like doing something specific than posting every single day.
Got you. So you don't
3
post
times a week. That's great.
Yeah. So you don't post every day. You at least on the same site.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I'll post in different places.
Yeah. I wonder if can you post too much? I mean, I suppose. What do you think about that? Give me your thoughts on that.
I definitely think you can post too much because, like, you think of anything you've seen too much of, then you're like, I'm just tired of seeing this. Like, I've definitely unfollowed where I'm like, I am tired of seeing your face. I just need to take a break from you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I like a little. You have to give the content time to breathe. So you like throw it up in the air and you like let people look at it and you're like, cool. Okay, here's another one. Give them a second to miss you. So it is kind of like dating, right? You don't want to be like, hi, what are you doing? How are you?
Yeah. My wife liked me a lot better when we were dating because we didn't see each other every day. Now, it's him again, Yeah, but no, that is very, very true. And I wonder about that myself, because I enjoy. I think just as a little self-confessional here, I think maybe I am posting too much on LinkedIn just because I enjoy the site so much, because I like finding out what I find out there. So maybe I'll cool that down just a little bit. I don't know. But
look at your analytics in there, and LinkedIn is really great because I do think it's taking the folks who enjoyed Facebook, but now don't enjoy like the temperature of Facebook right now. So
right.
You go over to LinkedIn where everybody's on their best behavior because it's like the professional business place to be.
Right.
And And I don't know if you have yet applied to do live streaming on LinkedIn.
I am in the process of doing that. I got turned down once, but yeah.
But like once you get that going, I think that's going to be really great. And I think even taking small bits from this, and because I think on LinkedIn, people are posting, but not as much as everywhere else. So
yeah,
posting every day there, maybe back off a little bit if your intuition is telling you like maybe it's too much, but then you'll see how it reacts. And you have to look at things in quarters. Don't look at your analytics on any single post, because that does not give you a true view on anything. You have to like sit back and look at like the last 3 months and kind of what was your behavior and what happened and what worked and what didn't. And like that's where I used to do on YouTube like unboxings for any tech. I used to just do any kind of technology, not necessarily content technology. And I know that those would cause like a dip. There might be a spike on people looking for that particular product, but they don't stick around because they don't like the whole, they're not, I'm not always reviewing like a teeth whitening thing or, a facial massager or whatever.
Right.
That's not what people stick around for. So then you can start to see like, okay, I didn't need to post that, but you can experiment. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
You can try, and if it doesn't work, okay.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Well, surprise.
That's great.
It's 3:00.
3:00. See, where'd the hour go?
So much for all those videos.
Yeah.
You can find them if they need to, if they want a little behind the scenes, they want to know how to do things. I go through a lot of products on like how I set up my set and how you can make it very simple or make it very complicated. That's just depending on how much you enjoy doing this or not.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good time. Tell us where they can find you.
I am everywhere on the internet at Marielou Mandl, Marielou Mandl. And I know it's crazy looking, but I am the only one. So if you search my name, you will find me on Instagram. I'm very available in the DMs. So if you're ever working on a piece of content and you're like, I don't know how to XYZ, just send me a message. I will help you out if I can. YouTube, I've got my live stream there Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And those are tutorials and encouragement for creatives, just encouragement and empowerment for digital content creators. Because like for me, if you want to create content, please just know you can create content. Don't get in your head and be like, oh, I don't know how. Like, you have a phone. If you have a smartphone and you can look at social media, I promise you can make social media.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
We'll put these links in the
great. That's perfect. In the comments.
Yes, sir.
All right, that sounds good. All right, well, Marylou, thank you so much. I definitely learned something today. No doubt about it. I definitely learned something today. I don't know when I'm going to change my profile picture. I think I might have to do some counseling before I do that. That's been with me the whole time.
I'll get a phone call later. Like, hey, can you change my picture?
Hey, can you put it back up? No, that is all good. But thank you so much, Marylou. It's so great to meet you. You're a treasure trove, absolutely. And how do you work? Do you take clients on? Tell me what your work thing is. How do you monetize?
So I take limited amount of clients because I'm very picky about who I take on to coach for social media, because if you're not ready to do the work, then you just need to stay on YouTube and watch the tutorials there. Yeah. And then when you're ready, then you can reach out to me, then we can talk. But I do have courses that are coming out because I do believe that a lot of people like to learn at their own pace, which is great. Mm-hmm. And I learn a lot from courses as well. So coming up in January, I'm going to be releasing a vertical video course and an Instagram Reels course. Those are going to be the first ones that I start with, because vertical is something that if you've always shot in landscape, it's hard for you to wrap your head around vertical, but it's a thing.
Blasphemy.
Yes, it's a thing, and just because you don't like it doesn't make it not exist.
Yeah. Well, that's the bane of the production world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Before Instagram, God help me if I posted something vertical. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all I was going to hear about with my crew. You know what I mean? Yeah, that would have been the worst. So that's great.
Chastised endlessly.
Oh, absolutely.
There's still ongoing arguments in forums about.
Oh,
about.
Absolutely.
Let them argue, because are they showing up on Instagram?
That's
Are they
true.
showing up on TikTok? Are they, like, there's a new platform, a new thing that's added to YouTube. Like, look at what the platforms are doing. They will tell you what the people are looking at and where the money is being put. Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok all have vertical video platforms.
Yep.
Yes.
YouTube, short vertical videos is where it's at. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Wow.
Cool.
All right. This has been great. There's so much more. I'll have to have you on again, seriously, because I want to get down to really do it. Like, I didn't even ask you about Snapchat. I didn't, you know what I mean? And some of the other, I know, it's funny. Why doesn't Snapchat, why haven't they ever taken off? But I can't figure out how to use it either. So, that's one thing. But anyway, Marylou, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. We would love to have you back anytime.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. And with that, I will bid you a fond farewell, and everybody out there, and tell you we'll see you next Friday at 2 o'clock on Bernie's Applebox.